It's on. Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. Firstly, welcome to all of you. How many new moms are here? Is there other new moms? Oh, wow. Firstly, congratulations to all of you. Okay, so let's get started. So today we have here Gaurav Gupta. So he's a CEO or a co-founder for Blockworks Institute. So if you haven't heard about that, like it's based out of Netherlands, and the main important thing of the company, like I just got to know about this company and all past 3 days, and I was having a good conversation with Gaurav. So there's a lot of inspiring things like where women actually need. So he actually totally captured that. I really loved that. So what was that like? We the women, like we always have this career break gap, and somewhere like we have no other go. We have to take care of our families, our kids, and all. We stay back, and then after 2 to 3 years, that's it, gone. So we are out of the race, and we have to pick that, right? So we should come up with the new skills. All that stuff generally goes. These guys are gonna help you on that. So how is that? And all, Garo is gonna talk more about that, and it's gonna be a good interactive session. So there are a lot of Q&A and all's gonna happen. So let's make the use of that. And on that note, Gaurav, over to you. I think I've reduced half of your work.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good afternoon. Really happy to be here. I've traveled 7,000 kilometers for these 45 minutes on a topic on which I have no direct experience, as you can see, no lived experience. But that's the reason why I think it's interesting. I think they talk about men as allies, and I'll just tell you my story and how it relates to the work we're doing. Good to get started? Yes. Great. So my name is Gaurav. Yeah, hi. The reason for me being here is my background. My background has been in human resources. I was the HR director for 2 companies, and then I moved over to the Netherlands, as Mridula explained, to become the global HR director for a company. Now, I worked in 5 countries, 5 companies. There was one thing in common, huh? And this some of you may find fascinating. What was common was when a woman approached me as a manager or as an HR person for the first time and announced her pregnancy. The man brain always go, should be said? Huh? Should I keep myself smiling? Should I be honest? Should I? And then the real man brain goes into, okay, when is the 6 months going to start? When is the 6 months going to start? And that's what's playing on your mind. And it should not be, right? It should not be, because you should be celebrating moment rather than being so nervous about what's the actual thing that's going to happen. Some of you will recognize it. And so therefore, the reason is all management is about managing a process. We take so much time to manage people, engage them, etc. But when they take a career pause or a career break, why do we just forget about them, right? And I think that's the reason why we think a support journey is important. We are launching this product along with AnitaB.org, and hopefully we'll co-brand it and affect the lives of people who are going through that journey. So far with me? Yes? Okay, good. How do I move to the next slide? But yeah, okay. Before I do that, this picture here is designed to evoke a memory, either a past memory or a future memory, right? And when you think of this picture, what I would like you to think and discuss is in the context of work. Think about a time, past, maybe future, where you discussed it with your manager, right? Think about were you feeling anxious? Were you feeling supported? Were you feeling what will happen to me over the next 6 months? I can tell you my company works in career comeback. And the biggest reason for career comeback, so the biggest reason why there's a drop off in the ladder is because of this period of time, okay? So what I would encourage you to do is, and groups of 3, groups of 4, but just have a conversation going, is remember your time, right? Or remember a future time where you were having this interaction with a manager. Set the scene, tell the story, but tell a story of this is what happened in my case. Okay, you get how it's going? This is what happened in my case. This was my manager. This was me. I'm the heroine. And this is what I thought would have been good. This is what I thought could have been better. Okay? 4 of us, 5 of us, all together. Some of you who don't have stories, that's okay. Listen to the story that you have. but just have a chat between us. This is a master class. It's not me discussing slides. Who'll be the yeah, we have some volunteers here. You can coalesce around one person. Is that okay? And do we have some one person here as well? New mothers or yes, okay. So you can coalesce together and people can coalesce around you. Yeah, is that okay? Do we have someone at the back as well? Okay, yeah, go for it. So listen, share your story, share what you happened when you told, share what happened, how the next 6-8 months were. Yeah, we'll just be keen to listen, right? And, and just Mridula, on the summarization, tell me a little bit about the words that came again and again. Yeah, and I don't, the sentences don't matter, the word frequency matters.
Yeah, I could say resonate like mom guilt over there. Hike, affecting hike. So I think, yeah,
Yeah,
let
yeah,
them,
yeah,
let them
go
talk.
for it, yeah. What are the words that came again and again and
This
again?
Uh, I think for me, cultural context was important. My manager was in the US, so then I think they kind of anticipated. Plus, my manager was female. Before I went, she went on maternity leave, and before she went, my skip level went on maternity leave. So it was kind of like,
It's okay.
yeah. So everyone's doing it, so me next. So it
Yeah.
was like that. So I feel it was a lot different from my previous team, where it was a male manager, and contextually, like cultural context, that was in Singapore, and I feel they're more workaholics than even Indians.
Yeah, yeah,
So my fear was, then if I had to tell them,
yeah.
then how will I even tell them when, like, should I offer to work during my pregnancy till the last day, or should
That
I
is
take a break?
exactly what goes
Like,
on in
just
people's
so
mind.
much calculation.
Yeah.
But then I took 2 weeks break because I knew once the baby's out, it's all going to be about the baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of planning, strategizing in terms of how you want to convey is also
And
something.
it should not be, right? It's a happy moment, right? Why should we be planning and scaring to deliver happy news, right? Why should you be scared to deliver happy news, right? So I think that's the
Yeah.
real point.
Yeah.
But
No, I was not scared, but I just wanted to plan. Like,
fair.
it's happy news for me. The world revolves around me in my life, but not for them, right? For the organizations, may not be necessarily the same. So
Yeah.
how I say it also matters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was that.
Good. Let's move to the other group. What are the words that came? What is the theme that came?
No theme as such, like she said, cultural context was more or less like for me. My manager was US based. He actually congratulated me.
Yeah.
You want me to come ahead? Oh,
Go for it.
no, that's too much of help. Thank you. You can come to my house and help with the kids. That would be more help. But
Yeah.
so yeah, for us it was more or less, yeah. But like she said, she was I wouldn't say denied, but that she has seen those moments where promotion was kind of denied. If I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
saying.
yeah. No, very,
So
very
those
live
things.
case. Very live
So
case.
but I still feel that we are growing in this
are growing in
way, that
this.
we are growing out of it. With the generation that we are at, they're having kids. COVID was mostly about having kids, because I had mine, and I see people around having,
Yeah.
or everyone around
Yeah.
me have kids.
Yeah.
So I guess we are growing out of it.
Yeah.
I somehow feel that we are getting better. Obviously, now coming to our mom, there are other things.
Yeah.
Because our generation is different.
Yeah.
I find it difficult, but at the same time, I took time to connect with my kid, with my own kid.
Yeah.
9 months, I wasn't even cuddly to her.
Yeah.
But once I started, I don't think I see anything in the world but her.
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess all this is what
Okay.
we conversed about.
Just I'll just take a quick bridge from you. When we did discovery interviews with some people, right? We interviewed 50, 60 people across the world. The words that came were, and I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but a lot of anxiety. Yeah, anxiety seemed to come up again and again and again, and the desire for support seems to come up. And I'm not referring it only to India or only to one country. As I said, I come from the Netherlands, and there they have 16 weeks, huh? So as opposed to this. It is the same. You know, this is a universal language and a universal pain, right? It is not restricted to a country. The desire to not deal with the topic is a man-brain thing. But anyway, we'll discuss that a separate one. But yeah, let's go to the other group.
So for me, when I had to announce my pregnancy to my manager, like she said, I was congratulated and all of that. But I clearly remember the day before, I was thinking that I was in a very high visibility project and I was really doing very well. My client was happy, my stakeholders were happy, and all of that. And I started calculating myself 6 months down the line what will happen,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So then I was just thinking, like, I think, come on, projects comes and goes. Organization will stay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think this is my time. But definitely, I had a thought that I'm not going to get the same position that I had
That is
in the
exactly what
team, and
happened.
that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
So
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Conversation was around the mom guilt. So that we every day goes through that, okay, my kid is screaming and I'm having a meeting, a very important meeting, and she or he is screaming behind. What should I focus on? If I'm neglecting him, then obviously mom guilt goes on very high. Like, we are in stress mode all the day. If we are not giving back to the work that we want to go do, then the ambitious girl inside us that take a toll, that, oh, what are you doing to yourself? This is not how you have groomed yourself whole day. So that the juggling, which is so real, it's not something to deny of. This is real and we go through it. And I don't know, it's something, the help that we give to ourselves, that help us to go one day ahead, 2 day ahead, or week ahead. So that's the thing.
98% want to return, only 13% say it's viable. Can you imagine this gap? Can you imagine? 75, and this is second bullet is India data. They do not return to work after mandatory 6, maybe 8, maybe not, or just longer. 75%, yeah? And the last is out of the 50% who return, within a year, they drop out. There is something, don't you think there's something wrong? It's not just women in tech issue. It's a tech issue. Half of the population in the world is women. And if these are the kind of numbers, don't you think the problem is much larger than it is made out to be? It's obvious, right? It's so, of course, when we presented it to companies, this HR manager, it's again a man brain issue. No, we don't have a 75%, we have 50%. I'm very happy. I was like, dude, you rock it. But the point is, if you look at the left-hand side, the right-hand side, loss of valuable talent, destroying productivity, it's an economic issue. It is not a social issue. And that is the point I tell my team again and again. We're not discussing a social issue. It's an economic issue. But what is missing in this slide, and I'm guessing you caught it, is the impact on a person. There is no metric that captures anxiety, that captures a little palpitation. Will my job be there after 6 months? Will I get promoted? Will somebody else take my job? My wife as well, she, of course, like everybody, she says, okay, looks like my career is over, and all these things, and you don't think in the same rational way that you would for a normal 6-month break. Recognize this? Okay. So this is what the data says. This is what we plan to do about it. As entrepreneurs, as I told you, I was a global HR director for a company. I've seen this problem. And the good thing about entrepreneurs is there's no magic sauce. Huh? The only good thing about entrepreneurs is they see a problem, they want to solve it. Okay? We see this problem, we want to solve it. Okay, when I started this journey, there's this 2 ladies who walked up to me. He said, don't you think you're the wrong gender for this? And yeah, a very, very honest conversation. But then my reply was always, the people who have done the most don't necessarily have to belong to the same community or the same gender. Think historically. Think, yeah, I'm just taking big names. Abraham Lincoln, look at what he did. He didn't necessarily belong to the black community. William Wilberforce, he abolished slavery. It doesn't necessarily, all I'm saying is, it is not necessary for a good thing to come necessarily from the same community. I have been in HR, I have seen this problem, I have seen the anxiety as a father, as a husband. And when you see this anxiety, you see a problem, you want to solve it, right? So this is our steps to solve it. We are pitching to companies. As I said, we'll be co-branding it. So hopefully we'll get more traction around this topic, large employers. We've chosen some words here, and the words matter. So the words are pre-maternity support. What can you do? Recovery and reconnect. Obviously, you've done a huge event in the life. You want to embrace that moment. So you recover and reconnect. And then reintegration. And if I can, again, give a man analogy, you're taking a car, you're going down the ramp, but you want to know that there is an up ramp back to the world of work, right? And you don't want to answer your question, you don't want to be anxious that there is going to be no up ramp and I'll be diverted to the villages, etc. You want to go to that city road and come back in that road, okay? So that is why I think that is the reason we've done this. Again, they say that in design you should always have somebody who's been through the problem. When we first thought about it, we only thought about these two. Again, man brain issues. Then we have a woman in the team who says, why don't you go pull the cursor a little further and start from here? And so I think that's what the plan is. The plan is to take it to companies, and we're getting some tremendous reception, and say that there is a program, and if you talk to the program, then this is what it can do for you. Almost every company we've spoken to, they kind of agree. Yeah? Intuitively, they agree. It's politically not correct for them to not agree as well, but it is, they do agree. Okay, so what I'll do is over the next 5-10 minutes, I'll just take you through the plan, but I'll take you through interesting nuggets and anecdotes as well, and why we built it the way we have. It's not a, as they say, it's not the perfect plan. There'll be challenges, and I'll invite your thoughts as well. But this is how we're thinking about the issue. Let me talk about the second bullet. The first time you announce a pregnancy to your manager, in your cases, you've done that. Have some kind of a standardized process which has some shreds of human decency. I said I lived in Europe, and this woman, she was telling me what happened. She says she was having a second child. She walked up to her manager. She says, I'm pregnant. And you know what he said? Again? That is so sad. The thing is, that's how men think, right? I mean, and I'm not generalizing one gender, but I'm just saying, you blurt out what you, maybe it's intended, not intended, but it's deeply hurtful for the person at the other side. So just some kind of a standardization would always help, right? And the real ideal thing about management is you work on a formal plan, and that's really important. You work on a formal plan of how you will transition, because the key word here is transition, how you will transition. And then, of course, you keep the feedback going. I like this support system setup. Most of the anxiety comes from, will I have a job? What will happen to me after I come back? So I think the thing with New Mom Support Journey is, we say that there is a plan for you to reintegrate back. And this is the plan that will bring the reintegration. And I think that's what we wanted to bake into the last months of pregnancy when you're actually about to go on the leave. Okay? So far, so good. And this is when the magic happens, right? The magic happens that during the initial period, we try to be available but not intrusive, okay? We have psychometric people who are in the psychology field, because you want somebody to talk to. You can't talk to your manager, you want somebody external to talk to. So we have people embedded in who will listen into you, and they'll not judge you. Earlier the thinking was we'll have somebody inside the company, but yeah, every interview said, no, nobody inside the company. We want somebody outside that we can speak to. So we do have that. And then learning resources. But I think, again, the idea is, and the middle bar is important, to give upskilling options and exposure to strategic agenda of the company. What do you mean by that? What you mean is, we got in our interviews a lot of feeling that people were missing out. They say we miss out being part of the company. We only find out what's happening about the company by calling up on networks and say what is happening here, what is happening here. So this exposure to what is happening in the company is what we provide as well. And of course, upskilling options, if you want to change your skill or migrate to a different skill, that's another option right here. And then we discuss gradual reintegration, how you will hybrid work. I think hybrid work is a concept which is supremely important, but different companies have different plans to do this. But can you influence the plan for a category of people? I think that's where the conversation goes. The idea is to have regular check-ins with manager, because you're just not, you still have the same badge card that you always had. It's not like you've left the company. Yeah? You have a temporary pause in the company. I talked to you about the concept of a broken rung. There has been a lot of research on this. I'll just walk you through the research. Maybe part of it is India research as well. At the entry level, 50%, 50%, okay? Half man, half woman. When the first promotion comes up, the number becomes 180. So you have 100% of the people who joined getting promoted as men, and there is a little trail off in the first promotion. And then that's where the next rung kicks in, and that rung is missing. That's when things completely trail off. And that has got to do with maternity break, definitely, but a lot of other lifestyle choices people take. So the broken rung is the third rung. It is not at entry level. It is at that level where the ladder gets broken. Okay, so then the idea is to come back to work. How will you reintegrate? What can be your options for reintegration? How will your manager take care of your reintegration? I think that is where we focus a lot on the job training, getting you prepared. And lastly, you mainstream. You support, you evaluate. There are lots of details around that, but you want to celebrate your coming back to work as well. So I think that's the important piece here. And with that, I would like to invite your feedback, and there is a lot of options here, but in the interest of time, could you just focus on what you think, huh? And we'll do this publicly. What did you love about what you heard? What did you think, there is this little thing which is missing, what do you think can be added in? And there is a bias to this question, huh? There is, and I'll tell you a little story about the bias of the question. There was a pastor in the Midwest, in the US. Huh? And this pastor, a lot of young couples come to him. And says, why do so many young couples come to a pastor? The reason they come to him is he can predict which couples will stay married and which couples will separate. How can he do that? That's like magic, huh? This pastor can predict which couples will stay married and which couples will separate. So the reason they asked this pastor the secret, what is the secret? Yeah? How do you do this? He says, I put them in a room and I watch them for 45 minutes. 1 hour, 45 minutes. What do you think happens? What does he watch for? They talk to each other, not talk to each other. What do you think he looks for? Are they using their mobile phones? So what he looks for, he says, I look for the compliment to criticism ratio. At that point of time in life, if your compliment to criticism ratio is 3:1 or greater, you will stay married. Then it goes down, of course. But at that point of time when you're deeply in love, your compliment to criticism ratio should be pretty high. And so that's why I'm inviting your thoughts. You catch my bias, right? My question is, what did you like about it? So I'm inviting your compliment. And then I'm asking you, what do you think is one thing that could be added in? Because we're doing this, we're going to companies all across the world, we want to do this. But we want to also invite your thoughts around what can be better. So, open mic, last slide for the session. But what did you like about it, and what do you think can be added in?
So thank you. I think what I like about it that we are talking about it.
Very
We
good.
are working on it. Very first step, but required step. One thing just I want to add before from my experience, which I feel it might not resonate with everyone, but this is what I went through in my motherhood journey. The moment I announced, it was third month only. I announced it earlier to my manager because I want that the work that I'm doing, it should not get impacted. I should continue working on that kind of project, which didn't happen though. But the other thing, because I love to used to go to office while I was, the challenges I started facing that, oh, this is not normal thing that I could keep going office in the similar fashion because office doesn't support the environment
Huge
ecosystem
point.
which a pregnant women required. Your desk is not that I need a footstep, for example, because I cannot keep my legs down whole day.
Huge point. Huh?
I cannot keep in the canteen lines to take my normal food because I cannot stand in the huge queue lines if have to take 1 o'clock at my food, and I cannot stay hungry because I could be hungry anytime. Like it's
Very
not
relevant
something.
points. Very relevant points.
I'm not getting that kind of support in the office environment. I have to stay at home because I have to hydrate myself with different kind of stuff that I want to be healthy for my kid to be healthy. So this environment is not there. So
Point taken.
I'm not a mother, I'm not even married.
Yeah.
But I really like to listen to the perspective, and the entire conversation did give me an anxiety as to Not just marriage. I mean, like
Yeah.
women in tech, like it's hard. It's not as easy as is because we just we manage our homes irrespective if you're married, you're not married. We do manage at our homes at in some degree of it. Well, I do. So
Yeah.
uh, it was good to listen to the conversation. The thing that I would like to add is the thought I got is how much are we asking men to take up the work?
Mm.
Are we there is a minimum period of leaves that all women take. Are we making it compulsory for a new father to take up that many leaves? If that is done, would the equality been put in, like the promotions
Mm.
the getting affected,
Mm.
your salary hike getting affected, being in the same workforce? I mean the kind of work that we get, the visibility, will that it'll affect in the same way to man and a woman.
Mm.
So, and it will also bring in that responsibility on men to take care of their kids and their
Huge.
wife.
Huge. Yeah.
So,
So in our
yeah.
experience, so thank you for that. In our experience, the biggest thing, the biggest anxiety is, will I be working on the same? But what we can do is influence companies. Like in some companies, even if you, in Europe, we have this thing that if you go on a burnout leave, nothing changes. You're not allowed to make any changes. So we could have something similar done. We can work with companies to influence their policies.
While they're away, the system would have moved forward in terms of skills or whatever it is. So if a mother or a new mother that joins back, if there could be certain sort of training program for her to keep up with, so the upskilling, it's already there.
Scenario when our pregnancy reached term and everything goes phase wise, but what about premature babies?
Yeah. We missed that. Yeah.
We That's when a lot more care would be required, not just physically but emotionally also, because premature babies are generally in the hospital for a longer time, and
Yeah.
that also needs to be taken care of.
Huge point. Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the other thing is, you know, uh, most of us, we try to work up until the day we deliver.
Yeah.
Ambitious people,
Yeah.
all of us. At times what happens is our performance cycle comes in that window when we are in maternity.
Yeah.
And some of the work that we have really put in so much effort for is sort of lost because she's gone. She
That
was there
is
till one point.
Exactly like how that people think. Yes.
Yeah, and then she was not there for half the year, 6 months
Yeah,
maternity leave.
yeah.
She's getting a paid leave.
Yeah.
So she's not there. But what about the work that I did up until I delivered in that situation when I was not, my body is also working
Going
to
through
bring up
changes. Yeah.
a new human being, and also I'm putting a lot of effort in bringing, into my work. So I feel that sometimes we tend to miss out on how much effort we have put in despite being in that situation.
That's a very valuable point. We missed the premature part of it. So thank you for that.
Adding to this, so we just go on a break for a certain month, but the consideration or the environment around us, or like most of us, right, it looks like we have done nothing or it's obsolete, and we have to start fresh again when we are back. So I don't know why that concept revolves that way. Not everywhere I have been in a very supportive thing, but I have heard things, and definitely when we also come back, we would have gone through a lot of physical, mental changes, and the responsibilities automatically changes when we become a mother. So that aspect or that support, I think, I don't know why it doesn't fit in to other people around in the company.
Because I can tell you one reason. Because the conversation around this topic is not happening. No sense that this is also a journey to be planned. That is what, get the conversation started, some good ideas will come up, like they're coming up here. But if you don't have the conversation, you're burying it under the carpet. And while it may cause anxiety, it is good. This is a good thing to happen. Conversations are good. You're bringing it out in the open, right?
Organizations and they
Yes.
have accepted it. How women who are already on break, how can they make use of this?
Yes, so that's a good one. What we've done so far is we've gone B to B before we go B to C, which basically means is get organizations tapped in, large organizations tapped in. The next part of this is go B to C. Like for example, getting, the previous one was check-ins with psychology. Fair question. We haven't done it today.
So, yes, thank you first of all for this session.
Thank you.
So, yes, I have married, but not yet a mother. But I am in that planning phase where, in maybe in few months,
Mhm.
I'll also have a news and I will be in the same phase.
Mm.
So, what I liked about it is, so that particular battle, in that battle, now I'm getting a feeling that, I won't be alone. So,
Very good.
yeah. I
Can
mean,
we give a round of applause to that one? Yeah? If there is one takeaway, that should be the takeaway. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And of course, I mean, in my office, there are my seniors. So Madhuri, she's in my org only.
Yeah.
So I have her. I will have her lessons with me. I know that. But yeah, looking at the larger group here, it's a great feeling. And also, I mean, having a knowledge about such initiatives, it's a great thing.
Yes.
And one thing which I have a doubt in my mind is
Yes.
about this all will be settled from work perspective, but how will I learn to delegate the responsibility at my home? So I mean, I don't have a answer to this question. So now it's manageable.
Hmm.
I mean, it was not as soon as I got married. It took me 2-3 years maybe to settle down things at home, learn
Hmm.
to do household chores, which I didn't do before my marriage.
Yeah.
So now I think I am settled in
Yeah.
that particular phase. But once I'll be a mother, so again there will be a
No, no.
challenge. So
I
how
wish
to learn
how
uh,
to learn. Okay.
to delegate? I mean the responsibilities,
Yeah.
so that this particular thing will be easier.
So what our pitch is that look, everybody has a very different private situation, right? And it is difficult to put a template around each private situation. There are some golden rules that are applicable. What we are trying to put a template around is the private professional situation. So the professional side of integration. Because I think if you get into individual ones, it'll be different for a lot of different people. I'm closing with my slide, last slide. What I set up this company 2 years ago. It's called Blockverse. What we're really targeting is, of course, people who want to make a career comeback. And we were focusing again on the Netherlands because I think that's where I'm from, also in India. But the pain is not just people on a maternity break. Huh? The pain is people who accompany their spouses, go to lands far away, and then they're doing just, if I can call it, unpaid work. They're just sitting there and they're sometimes more qualified than the people they accompanied. And what we're trying to do is we're giving them the skills so that they can go back to work. And I think that's what Blockforce is about. You skill somebody and then you match them to employers. Because in these people, the hunger is greater. They've been out of work for 3, 4, 5 years, not because of anything they did wrong, but because they accompanied somebody who's now got work. And how you can skill them in a way, which is why I'm in this conference, how you can skill them in a high digitech way so that they have the skills needed to get back to work. And internationally, if you have friends, in some countries you're allowed to work, some countries are not allowed to work. This is a huge pain area. This is a tremendous pain area. When I asked, so in our interviews, we select people who want to come to our program. We ask them, tell me the last time you worked in a team and what was it like for you? Almost to the woman, they give examples of, I organized a birthday party and this is how I did. And so, there are sweet stories like that. But I think that's where our focus is for Blockverse. With that, I'll take leave. I think I've hit the top of the hour. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
In another way, right? Because all the companies would already have taken care of this parenting thing and also the way how we had been, right? So it's really unbelievable. So thank you so much, Gaurav. So I have only one question. So even you are still, you started like if, say for example, I'm into this phase and can I connect with you directly as well? Okay. So if any one of you are feeling like, so I'm feeling low and I need a support on that, so you're still, your company, okay, institute is gonna do that. It's really great. Thank you so much. On that note, can we stand there and